Pleasure to meet you. I'm Greg Srivasti with Deepest Stream. Pleasure.
Hey, pleasure to meet you.
So here, I'm gonna make this very, very quickly about me for a second. I graduated UCLA in 1993.
Oh yeah.
I started interviewing actors, musicians, everyone since 91. This is the first time in my career where I've actually am interviewing a fellow Bruin. So
Oh, nice.
it's a total honor and go Bruins.
Hey man, four's up.
Yeah. So regarding the Bondsman, how cool was it to be part of this entire community, this project? Because you have a very layered character. He's a character who's trying to follow his dreams, become a man, and follow a possible path to music. How could you relate to this character?
I mean, I could relate to it in the sense that I kind of am on a similar path in terms of the music. I think Cade's is a little more personalized in that his own father doesn't necessarily support his journey as a musician or doesn't support it yet. And I think as a musician, you're always trying to stand out, right? It's so hard now with the music world being so saturated on social media to stand out as a musician and as a creative. Cade's world is hyper localized in that respect, in that he's trying to stand out to his own father and prove his readiness. And Cade's reality oftentimes gets mixed into what he views Hub's perception of him as. So when Hub says he's not ready, Cade starts to think he's not ready. And that real world pressure, I think, is relatable beyond just musicians. I mean, you pursue anything, your parents' support, your loved ones' support is ultimately what can feel like your reality. And when Kate is missing that, I think that makes it a really relatable issue, which is what I love so much about this show, is that you have these really relatable moments masked under um, demons and gore and blood and violence. I mean, it really is packaged. All these family issues and ordinary world problems are packaged in this extraordinary setting.
You have some great moments, one-on-one moments with Kevin Bacon and Jennifer Nettles. What were those moments like? And obviously, in the moment, you're just trying to be in that moment and
Mhm.
create that scene. Upon reflection, what kind of lessons did you learn from these situations? Because these are great moments you have with them during the series.
I appreciate it. I think it can be daunting when you're going into a series, especially as a more supporting character, that a lot of my meatier moments happen after the first few episodes, right? So the whole set had developed this kind of rhythm and rapport that you're stepping into and trying to match, which can be scary for sure. You don't want to throw anything off on your first day, right? Especially stepping in to such an experienced cast and crew, both in front and behind the camera. Everyone had such insane experience. Um, I think Jennifer and Kevin made it so much more seamless of a transition when I was coming in that their experience put everyone on ease, right? Everyone knew that we were going to make our day. We were packing a lot in, but we had the experience to back it up. And then also their level of openness to collaborate was huge. And they didn't have to do that as scene partners. They could have easily said, you know what, this is how we're going to do the scene, and that's the way it's going to be, but they didn't. They really were interested and curious to what the other scene partners had to say and to offer, and that just always makes it so much easier to play those family moments because it's different and raw every single time.
This is just a non sequitur, but did your experience in Arcadian help you with this role? Because your character in Arcadian, it surprised me because y- you and Jaden are the heart and soul of the movie, and you guys carry that narrative. And that movie's sort of about responsibility and stepping up no matter what. Did you find that through line, or am I overthinking that
No,
at all?
I think you're right. I don't know if I was consciously thinking of it at the time, but when people bring up the synthesis between my projects, I always am surprised how a lot of the time these characters have such an effect on you, that it just sometimes compounds. I think you're absolutely right. A major thing with Cade is um, his development from being trapped in between his two parents to kind of emerging as his own independent figure in this world, saying, I am going to help you, Dad, but also this is where I'm drawing the line. I am going to be a musician. This is where I'm drawing the line. Sticking up to Lucky. I absolutely love that moment. Um, so yeah, I think you're absolutely right that that growth and independence that Thomas had in Arcadian and then that Cade similarly has in here. But I also think part of that is a universal theme of growing up, you know? I mean, if you're growing up, you're gonna have those growing pains and you're gonna stretch your arms and you're gonna bump into things sometimes, just like Cade and Thomas both did. But I think that boils down to having two well-written characters with good writers behind them.
I saw, I think, an Instagram, either reel or post with you and your band.
Hmm.
And you guys were playing maybe your new single or maybe another song in a dorm room. And I remembered when I was in my own dorm room, my dorm roommate introduced me to Boston, introduced me to Miles Davis.
Yeah,
And I was just listening to music on CD back in the day.
yeah,
And it was impactful for me. But you guys were in that dorm room playing music. And what's it
yeah.
like to actually, how impactful has music been for you in being part of this band
I
at
mean,
UCLA?
huge. I think the video you're talking about was in Reber Hall. So, um, but yeah, music has been really crucial for for me as a creative, especially on the show with, you know, having that skill set, being able to go in front of the camera with a little bit more of an ease and knowing, being able to be involved in the recording process of the song rather than just kind of faking my way through it as someone, you know, who doesn't play music. Luckily, I do play music. That was super helpful. But also, I've always brought an instrument with me to every single job that I do. I use music as a way to bridge these connections with the people I work with. It really is a universal language. So when you throw that music onto a show like this, where you're actually adding a rhythm to a scene, it gels the cast so closely together, and the cast starts to speak two universal languages. I mean, you got you have the language that always goes on during a scene, right? If you're really in the moment with your scene partner, but also you're adding a backbone to it. You're communicating through this kind of secret language that only you guys know as musicians. And it was it was such a great way to bridge the cast together, collaborating on these musical projects.
Maxwell, final question. I know
Yeah,
acting must mean a lot to you personally. Just wondering, growing up, can you name a movie that meant a lot to you personally that maybe inspired you to become an artist and follow this kind of road less traveled?
sure. I think there's a few for me. But if I had to pick one right off the bat, I remember going to see Do the Right Thing at our local theater in on Southport here in Chicago, the Music Box, and they were showing it on 35 millimeter. And that was the first thing I ever watched on film. Probably was a little young to be going to watch that, but my mom was never one for the whole, you know, ratings type of thing, and she brought me to go and see Do the Right Thing, and it completely changed my viewpoint on how a story could be told. Um, and just the different ways in which you can package these really deep, important, impactful themes. I mean, I'm a social science major at UCLA. I absolutely love the study of different cultures, of history, and the bridge that you can have between the arts and that world, that academic world, is it's the type of stories I want to tell. So, yeah.
Maxwell, thank you so much for your time. Really love this series. Love Arcadian. Love your stuff. And the first time I saw Do the Right Thing, I was a Bruin student and I watched it a screening over at I don't know Ackerman Union right by
Oh,
Bruin
no
Walk.
way. Really?
So just
Yeah.
FYI, again, go
Oh,
Bruins and
yeah.
congrats on your career. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.